recognize you to describe your amendment.
Alicia Isabel Thomas, or AliBel, as she was called by her devoted mom, Myra, was 6 months old when she died on March 18th, 2022. Myra was in this very room when she told us, through tears, that Allie was wearing a weighted sleep sack when she died. The American Academy of Pediatrics now calls weighted sleep sacks, quote, unsafe for infants. AAP also told this agency by letter in June that, quote, there is evidence that the use of weighted sleep products on infants can lead to lower oxygen levels, which may be harmful to developing infants' brains. AAP pleaded with this agency to act on weighted infant blankets now, stating that CPSC, quote, should take a precautionary approach to these and other novel infant sleep products to avoid a repeat of what happened with inclined sleepers. These products ultimately were associated with over 100 infant deaths, all of which would have been prevented if these products were not kept on the consumer market, end quote. AAP isn't alone in speaking out against weighted infant blankets. The CDC says, quote, weighted products are not safe for infants. The National Institute of Health agrees, warning that weighted products can pose danger for a baby. Yet neither AAP or NIH or CDC can remove dangerous products from the marketplace. That's CPSC's job. And every additional death we see in these products will be our fault if we don't address this now. We can't wait for a string of infant deaths before taking action to protect babies from a hazard that's staring us right in the face. So I've introduced the AliBel Amendment, which would deliver a proposed rule on weighted infant blankets, sleepers, and swaddles, and update CPSC's safe sleep guidance to be in line with CDC and NIH guidance on weighted products. Myra, you asked us to keep a vigilant eye on this product category. Today, I ask my fellow commissioners to join me in fulfilling that duty to you and to Allie.
Is there a second for the amendment?
Second.
Hearing a second, we're going to move to comments and questions from the commissioners. I'm going to start with myself. Commissioner Trumka, I appreciate you bringing up this issue. It is one that is extremely important, one that I think many commissioners up on this dais have been talking about and urging action on. But as to the amendment itself, I mean, I think half the amendment is actually unnecessary and the other half is counterproductive. Staff is already working on how to modify safe sleep guidance to account for the fact that both NIH and CDC is warning against the use of weighted wearables for infants. The amendment itself is unnecessary as this work is ongoing, and I anticipate that we will be updating our guidance. But as to starting a rulemaking, it's my understanding that the staff hasn't conducted the research necessary to draft a notice of proposed rulemaking in 2024. And simply directing them to do it or wishing something to happen doesn't reflect the work that has to go into a successful rulemaking that ultimately reflects the science and can be sustained over time. That being said, the staff is very aware of the issue and is working diligently to assess and quantify the safety risks associated with weighted blankets. And I plan to make sure that the commission does keep on top of the issue. But in the end of the day, I can't support what ends up being more of an arbitrary deadline for the staff that we know that they can't meet. So I plan to oppose the amendment. Commissioner Feldman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the reasons I've already stated, that the rulemaking agenda is ambitious and I don't have clarity on what would fall off should we add new items or accelerate existing rulemaking. So I'm also a no. Thank you.
Commissioner Boyle?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Commissioner Trumka, for this amendment. As you know, several weeks ago when we were briefed on the operating plan, I asked a number of probing questions of the executive director on this topic and underscored my concern on it. I have for a long time been discussing this topic with staff, and so it's something that is of great concern to me. But I do think at this time it's premature. I plan to hold the chairman to his word in terms of revising our guidance and keeping our feet to the fire on this. I do think it's really important. I think there are lessons from the past that we should be applying to these emerging hazards, and this is at the top of my list. But at this time, unfortunately, I can't support the amendment.
Commissioner Trumka, did you have any additional thoughts?
Whether we believe it's possible or we believe it's not, we're right.
With that, if there's no other comments, go to a vote on the amendment. Commissioner Trumka, sorry, Commissioner Feldman,
I vote no.
Commissioner Trumka,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyle,
No?
and I vote no as well. The Trumka 3 is not adopted. Commissioner